Hello everyone, my name is Alper Tüfek. I'm attending from Turkey and I'm going to present our research paper on the provenance extraction techniques with a case study for numerical weather prediction models. Currently I'm a PhD student at Yıldız Technical University in Istanbul. You can see the general structure of the presentation at the top right of each slide. First, let's give a brief introduction to the problem definition and explain our main motivations. Numerical weather prediction is simply the process of using mathematical models to simulate the physical laws of the atmosphere and oceans in order to forecast the future weather based on the current weather conditions. But the calculations often take hours to complete depending on the input parameters. Like grid resolution, forecast period, and after the prediction model begins to run, interventions cannot be made until the results are available. On the other hand, severe weather events such as floods, hurricanes cause the deaths of hundreds each year, and as well as interrupting continuous activities such as transportation and commerce, which also leads to enormous financial losses. As such, even a small improvement in prediction accuracy or in computation speed as well as in reaction time becomes very important in weather prediction. But this requires scientists and researchers to work in cooperation and share data and results with each other, and in this respect, the provenance plays a critical role. According to the World Wide Web Consortium's definition, provenance is the information about entities, activities, and people involved in producing a piece of data or anything which can be used to assess its quality and reliability. In this study, we chose to use the weather research and forecasting WRF model as a use case, and we developed a monitoring adapter whose details I will explain in the following slides. We integrated this adapter with a provenance framework, and we developed a provenance browser to make provenance queries and draw provenance graphs for further analysis. WRF model is actually a collection of software modules, and it is an open source software that can be run in distributed environments, and it is written in Fortran largely and partly in C language. WRF model basically consists of three major components. The first component is the pre-processing system, and the second part is a dynamic solver which is responsible for the prediction task, and the third part is called the post-processing component and visualization. It also includes visualization tools. The figure on the left summarizes the data flow between the internal modules of the WRF model, and it shows various temporary or intermediate files as well as final products generated through the execution of WRF model. The figure on the right, on the other hand, shows a sample map of 2-meter ground temperature and wind predictions generated by WRF engine and post-processing and visualization tools. In general, scientific software is developed by scientists within their own disciplines, and unfortunately, numerical weather prediction software is no exception to this reality. As such, numerical weather prediction software does not usually have the ability to automatically generate or store a systematic provenance record. In literature, there is not much provenance research directly related to numerical weather prediction systems. Here we list a couple of them, which is directly or indirectly related to weather prediction. Metadata specification is a general purpose family of specifications for modeling, representing, storing, and transferring of provenance data. And it consists of several specifications. For example, ProVidDM introduces the basic concepts and defines a data model for provenance information by means of types and relations. Likewise, ProV-XML defines the framework for an XML schema to describe the data model for storing and transferring provenance data. ProV specification is designed to be domain agnostic, in other words, independent from any specific domain, and thus it is based on three general concepts only: entities, activities, and agents. At the table in the right, we can see these very basic subjects and relations between them. In our provenance collection system, log records of WRF model are analyzed, and raw provenance notifications are sent to the Komado provenance repository. Komado is an open source provenance collection and storage tool that is fully compatible with the World Wide Web Consortium's ProV specification that I mentioned in the previous slide. Here we can see some XML schema definitions for various relations between ProV subjects, like entity-entity relations, or agent-entity or activity-entity relations. Here in the figure on the right, we can see the main components of the WRF model and the overall architecture of the provenance collection and presentation modules. We can see the interactions between the parts in this diagram, and the figure on the left shows the basic component diagram of a machine learning based provenance collection system. Various supervised learning algorithms are utilized to model the provenance data and to predict the type of provenance notifications. Machine learning algorithms are employed during the analysis of log lines. In other words, lines containing provenance information are filtered by using text classification methods. Here, the Komado service is responsible for storing both unprocessed and processed provenance data in a MySQL database at the backend. Users can query, visualize, and analyze the processed provenance records in the provenance database with the help of Provenance browser that we developed. We picked up a representative classification algorithm from different categories. For example, we chose the logistic regression algorithm among regression-based classifiers. And we picked up naive Bayes among Bayesian classifiers. Among tree-based classifiers, we chose the random forest algorithm. And finally, among neural network-based classifiers, we chose multi-layer perceptron. And each classification algorithm requires a training dataset to construct the classification model. In this study, we created labeled datasets for training from sample WRF log files. We did this by scanning each line and checking whether it contains any provenance data and determine the type of provenance relationship. We used Apache Spark MLlib library for algorithm implementations. The classification algorithms in the MLlib library accept files in libsvm format. libsvm is basically a sparse feature vector notation. It is a file format that with rows representing a feature vector that is composed of feature index versus value pairs that are separated by a space character. Basically what we do here is text classification. So first we need to do some pre-processing to convert the text into some numerical form. In our case, we used n-word frequency profiles, where each unique word is converted to a feature index versus value pair. Feature indexes indicate the index numbers that are automatically assigned to each different word in the log file in the order they are encountered. Index numbering starts from 1 and increments by 1. The value number in each pair indicates the frequency of the word in the corresponding log line. In this study, the value part is assigned as 1 in all samples, since we consider the term existence only rather than the term frequency. a sample slice of raw log file and the corresponding version after conversion to libsvm format can be seen here. And to evaluate the performance of the proposed system, we conducted some experiments. We implemented all modules in Java language. We ran WRF software on a separate virtual machine, and we obtained 3 different versions of the log files from various runs. The table here shows the summary statistics of these files. The first file, named log100, means it is generated with debug level set to 100, while the other 2 versions are generated with the debug level set to 150, which is the highest debug level. Dictionary size in the table refers to the total number of distinct words in the corresponding log file. To evaluate the performance of the classification process, we examined the classification accuracies of the algorithms. Each test procedure is repeated 100 times for each algorithm and log file combination, and the averages along with the standard deviations are calculated. A 10-fold cross-validation approach is chosen for the evaluation methodology. This means each log file is randomly split into 10 subsets of approximately equal size. Each time a different subset is selected as the test set, and the remaining subsets are used for training. The overall performance metric for a specific log file is calculated by taking the average of the results calculated for each one of the 10 subsets. We evaluated multi-class classification performances of each algorithm in terms of accuracy and precision metrics, and the results can be seen in this graph and the one on the next slide. Here we can see the accuracy metric results, and here we can see the precision results. The results shows that in general all algorithms achieved very high classification accuracies and performed with high precision. The size and the contents of the log files may show some variations depending on the parameters, such as the size of the region to be predicted or the length of the prediction period. However, when different log files are examined, it can be seen that they generally have a common pattern and a high degree of similarity. For this reason, it is observed that the machine learning models achieve very high performance on various log files with different initial parameters like different time periods or different prediction regions. In this way, we can train an appropriate classification model for WRF or any other numerical weather prediction model and deploy the entire system to an operational environment. Then the system can monitor and analyze the related log files to automatically produce provenance information. Here I wanted to show a sample provenance graph of a WRF execution. To sum up, we can say that in this study we have developed a framework to track the WRF model and to generate, store and analyze provenance data. The proposed system provides easy management and understanding of numerical weather forecast workflows by providing provenance graphs. By analyzing these graphs, potential faulty states that could develop during the execution can be determined. The products produced by numerical weather prediction models are weather parameters calculated for a global or regional forecast domain. In future work, we plan to develop an interface to present the model output coupled with its provenance information on the same map within a GIS infrastructure. We also plan to continue our efforts to eliminate the provenance loss resulting from the missing log records and to obtain a complete provenance data.